Manda. Okay. Okay. Yes, bola vinaka to our friends listening in. Happy Rotuma Language Week. We communicate na barong chukumai. Greetings to everybody. Yes, vinaka for joining in. And we have a very special guest connecting in from Auckland, New Zealand today, Miss Fesaitu Solomone. Okay, vinaka. So to kickstart our Talanoa, we'll listen to one beautiful series from Rotuma, and thanking Letila Mitchell and the Rako group, Rako Pacifica, will get this song of Rotuma to kickstart our Talanoa today. Vinaka vakalevu for joining in, ladies and gentlemen.
Hapo. Raota uma Rotuma, Raota uma Rotuma, nefu ewo, ne Pacifica. Pacifica.
Sa Noaia mauri, bula vinaka, aloha, happy Rotuma Language Week 2022. Vinaka vakalevu, vekem nina wekando ni sema tikumai ni bula vinaka, Madam Marietta Ringamoto, vakarong chikungo me North Shore, me Nisilandi, bula vinaka Thierry William, me Christopher, Angelete Noke, Miss Katerina Ruru, Berton nabubale na Letila Mitchell, Liz Erecito, kay nabubale ni Professor Wilsoni Hernico, nimbula vinaka. Mbula vinaka talaga ko ni Jose Kirabono, kay kumni na bakarong tikumay, and bong vinaka ni ko. Chochi, vai, Noaia mauri, bakiriru chukumingo chochi. Mbula vinaka chochi, nice to see you listening in for this very special Talanoa. Your sidekick here, Fesaitu, just got in from Wellington, straight to this Talanoa. So vinaka vakalevu Fesaitu Solomone for taking the time out from your busy schedule as you've just arrived in Auckland a few minutes ago, and here you are taking the time to share your Talanoa with us here to celebrate the Rotuma Language Week. How are you feeling today, Fesaitu?
Vinaka vakalevu Dr. Tarisi, Noaia mauri tinas koinang tutu to ko zu ngach ni te ututu ni renti to kwa sat muti Rotuma katape mesio os lalwang ni hanuti isi ni sirongi os Noaia mauri katma eklas haharongi male riri itape ma weka tipo fa so isi aloha mai. Oh, I feel like I wanted to swim with the waves just all crashing behind you. So I'm excited. I'm very well. And just in recognition of our mana whenua and tangata whenua here, just saying tēnā koutou to all of our viewers that are tuning in as well. And all of our families that you've just read out as well. For yeksi ia I hanisit la noha foi me la long ne aveti si la kiel se amne nga root na so nga tisi asokse. I'm tired, but I'm also really excited that I'm speaking to you. I have to speak to you because I know I can never say no to you as usual. For Yexia.
So Vinaka Sara Itu for being here tonight and just to enlighten us about this very special week. We've been watching the phrase of the day and the theme as well for this celebration of this beautiful language of yours. Maybe just enlighten us to tell us as to why is it important to celebrate this this language week?
Vinaka Tarisi, for me, I believe in terms of this week, it's a way to showcase our culture and languages, Rotumans living here in Aotearoa. What has started as as you aware, trying to push our ministry and the government to look at supporting our Rotuman language as well. At that stage, it's gone into what it is today. But I have to acknowledge the people behind it in terms of our communities and those who have come together and not been part of our collective, but are out there celebrating the Returnement Language Week on their own. So the Language Week is quite crucial for us as Returments here. It's 1 week that we showcase not just here in New Zealand and Aotearoa, who we are as Returments and what is it that people can learn and take away from the week. But it's also an opening for the rest of the year for us to continue the journey of our language and culture. So, whatever you can do this week is that content that you can actually use throughout the year that you can share or teach yourself some of our Rotuman words and things that are happening, with, as to your point, words of the day, phrase of the day, we've got hanuchus happening, we've got all of our recipes that we normally cook for our Rotuman food. And I know there's probably a teheroro recipe somewhere that, our people love as well. So it's a long week, but it's a very fun week. I see it as a tiring, but also a fruitful and beautiful week to celebrate who we are as people living outside of our island, So that's, for me, that's how I see it. But the language journey doesn't stop in 1 week. It should continue every day to the rest of the 365 days of the year. Vinaka, Dr. Tarisi.
So, vinaka vakalevu. And to our listeners, some of them may have just seen you for the very first time. Which part of Rotuma exactly you're from, and also your mom as well?
Oh, for Noaia, Dr. Tarisi. I'm from, I live in Mutusa, and Mutusa is on the western side of Rotuma. If you've been there, you'll know and understand that it's such a beautiful place, and the only place that where when you live on that thin strip of the island, you can see both sides of the sea. So I always feel like, you see both sides of the coin. This is it. It's paradise that you can look across to the other side, see the ocean, look across to the other side as well, and you see the ocean. So I'm from Mutusa. My mother is have roots in Oinafa, also in Lopta, and in Mutusa as well. My father, my mom is still alive, but my father has roots also in Mutusa and Watau, in Itutiu, and that's basically. But we've lived. We grew up as kids. We lived in Mutusa ever since. So it's from both my mom and my dad's part of the family. Naka.
Yes, vinaka vakalevu. Bolo vinaka to everybody from Matusa listening in. Anyone that has connection to Oinafa, vinaka vakalevu, nasema chikumai. It's just wonderful to be here listening to Fesaitu, who has done so much, contributed in so many ways in aiming to keep the language and culture alive in Aotearoa. Would you like to enlighten us about the theme for this week's language celebration?
Yes, the theme is a very interesting one, because the actual theme that the Ministry for Pacific's People set out, it's called sustainability. And so they put an umbrella theme that communities across our language weeks can either use that as their core theme, or you can derive the theme and create a sub-theme within the language week. So our committee thought, the theme on its own under sustainability from the ministry is called Vetoki. And it's it's a word that a lot of our people, a lot of people probably would have never heard it before. And so we use that as Vetoki in terms of sustainability. And what we collectively, and then just acknowledging as part of the Hata Collective, we have our New Zealand Returnment Fellowship, which is have got 3 main groups under the New Zealand Returnment Fellowship. And they've got Moroni. Moroni is based here in Auckland. You've got a Wellington group. And our Rotuman youth of New Zealand also, around Aotearoa as well. We also got part of it is a Christchurch group, Canterbury. Our Canterbury group has got a Rotuman group there. And then here, also in Auckland, we have our church group of the Rotuman Kingsland Church. And then we also have a Wesleyan church as well, part of our Returnment community. And then we also have Koinanga Fitness, which is a fitness group that focuses on not just language and culture, but health and fitness for our community. So, those are part of the groups. And then we have our supporting groups, Center for Pacific Languages, who support and work towards our language week as well, and also our Pacific Media Network, PMN Rotuma, PMN Tochi. So those are all, and I hope I haven't forgotten anyone, but acknowledging that as we as a committee collectively come together, we have representatives across all our groups that sit and decide what is the best thing for us to move forward. And so we basically landed on Vetokia deriving from sustainability, because it's so broad, that theme, that we've narrowed it down to having Vetokia os whainga maang whakanua. So that means it's sustaining our language and our culture. So that's for us, it's also looking back to last year's theme, where we had the 4 pillars of our community. And so that's sort of like weaved in terms of our language theme for Ngasavne Fiang Rutuamda. So yeah, as a collective, we've decided on the theme, and totally that's how we came up with it. But we're looking at sustainability in terms of a language. And it's this topic will probably not go away now. It's a continuous sustainability, as we all know. It's how do you sustain the language and our culture, not just here in Aotearoa, but across the diaspora as well. So I think that's where I think this will probably draw in, because a lot of communities have drawn in from using last year's theme, expanding on it. So there's always a possibility that the ministry will put an umbrella theme every year, and it's up to the community what their final theme will be, what will look like, because it draws what the content of delivery will look like for the week as well. So we know that as part of Aotearoa, language and culture has always been the forefront for many of our communities, but also the week is putting our language further, pushing it for visibility, for people to know more about who our Rotumans are in the space and here in Aotearoa, but where are they from? That's the thing, because one of the biggest questions is, where are you from? People know Fiji, Tonga, because it's so common within our communities. But as soon as you see Rotuma, everyone, what? Where is that? So it's like Pacific. We are a dot in terms of the mapping. So it's unique as it is. We wanting people to know more about who we are as people, but also learning more about our culture and language and speaking it. It's a way forward for people to use it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The visibility, and it's really good to see schools involved. I think Thierry's daughter was part of their, getting the teachers to say Noaia. That was really nice, and the students also participating. I was also looking at some of the recipes, so I was like, oh, I better check out some really nice recipes from Rotuma. So it's really nice to include food and language.
Yeah.
And also there will be some performances, I'm sure, at the end of the week. So vinaka vakalevu for championing that alongside the other groups that you've mentioned. Now, you also wear a couple of hats, and I know one of them is the radio show, the PMN show that you and Chochi are part of. Tell us, how did you get involved in the radio?
Radio.
Program.
Yes. I think moving from TV, still in the media space, but I wanted to acknowledge as well, because last year in starting the Hata Collective, when we came together, I've transitioned the role to Chochi, and I know he's watching as well, but he's the new chair this year to bring our people together and also recognizing our young people in the space. I want to acknowledge that the work that they've done in terms of the language week. Yeah, I do, as you see it, I do wear a couple of hats as well, but recognizing as well that Chochi is part of our bilingual program for Rotuma and the PMN for PMN Rotuma. It's always been an interesting space, and the more we look at it, the more that we connect with our people and go live every morning. That's where I feel that the space is kind of getting more and more, to your point as well, recognition, but people are enjoying it in the way we do it. Radio is, you'll know this as part of what we talked about when you and I have always connected in terms of the language space, and you've always been I would say the heart and soul of pushing me and encouraging me to actually get into the space, because where my heart was right from the beginning. And so this was sort of like a transition role into how, thinking in my mind, where else apart from Center for Pacific Languages, where the language is taught, what other platforms could the language get into? It's all about, and for me, it's looking at, it coincides with the theme this year. It's about sustainability. How can you consistently and deliver our languages and have that continuous visibility for our people to know that there is a space, but also trialing different types of media platforms to see what else is out there. Radio was something that when I looked around, we don't have a Rotuman radio program here. So when the government officially, as part as you've seen my big strategic vision as where I wanted to take the language, radio and TV was was definitely part of it. But radio really was mainly it's a opportunity under Pacific Media Network. It's where the Pacific languages sit. So it's, for me, rightfully lobbying to advocate, to say, look, this is where I want the language. Since 2020 was, talking about it more with a new director. And we had an interview with him last Saturday as well. And that was the beginning of the conversation, is why I wanted the radio program to have that presence of our Rotuman language, and also acknowledging and all of our producers from the Pacific, who was also instrumental as well in saying to me, well, bring it here. Why don't you bring a Rotuman language program here, since the center has already got? And one of them is Nimai as well. Wodhango, we have Tauraki from our Cook Island community. We've got a lot of our, farmer. We've got all of from Noaia. So the whole producers from PMN, while doing a project there, was very instrumental in saying, encouraging the similar to you, bring the language here, maybe you can, do something about it, because this is the space for it. They had the Solomon Island language there. And so, why not? Kiribati, you got Tuvalu, Tokelau, Niue, Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, maybe Rotuman, since we've got the ministry recognizing it. So it was a way to lobby as well and advocate as well. You were very much present when the PEC at that time, you kind of went and lobbied it, as well as helping me to get our language there. And so as a lot of our community members being supportive in the space, and families as well. So yeah, radio was a next target here. You never know what's going to come up next. But yeah, my eyes are always looking as to where else could we put, and the language has really taken off in terms of what people have come up to schools, as to your point. And, Thierry's daughter even said a prayer as well in Rotuman. And you have a lot of people asking for, can you help, our community? And we're quite a small community. And those who are not part of our Hara collective, like, Thierry, as part of our community, our Rotuman community here in Aotearoa, they play a part for the children in school, their workplaces. So every Rotuman here in Aotearoa, if your work organization know your Rotuman, you're playing a part in your organization. So although that we as a collective come together as groups to lead the language week, the recognition, I always say, goes to everybody in Aotearoa, but also globally as well, touching our island too, Otmota Hailaf te Rotuma. So, everyone becomes a part of it. So that's how one of the conversations I'll never forget is when I said to you, I just want people to know with a language, our Rotuman language, and how can we bring that visibility for people to know who we are? Because every time people ask, where are you from? They always think that I'm Fijian at work. So that process of explaining, no, we are dependency, we're Polynesian, it sort of dawned on me. And, conversations like this have already happened at Sky TV well before I left, that advocating within Sky as well for language. And that's how I saw it, Te Reo and Pacific languages, and recognizing people that contribute to any organization. So yeah, that's the way I saw radio as an opportunity, and acknowledging the board at that time last year, who sort of, acknowledged it, and management, Don Mann as well, as the CEO and executive leadership, and so as the staff. So everybody at the PMN were very supportive, and so is our communities and our leaders that all supported the work in terms of the radio station as well.
Yes, vakalevu Sarah itu, and I know it's the visibility. I think it's really important. Would you like just to share a little bit more in terms of the status of the language, particularly from UNESCO? And I know this language week is one way of keeping the language alive. So do you think that these language weeks help in just keeping the language, as you said, being visible, but also being used more by members of the community, particularly the young people? Are they drawing in and using Rotuma language more? What do you think there?
Well, definitely. I would not say that they haven't used it more. I believe that people, the language week, I know that the usage of the language sort of shoots over 100% during the language week. And not just here in Aotearoa, but our young ones. And that's why I feel that this is a language week sort of brings, and a lot of our young people embracing it, that, hey, this is good, I'm part of it. And the language week, the week, I always see it as not enough. It's only a showcase. It's sort of like a festival, and then bang, the rest of the year. We need to, and I think that's where the ministry is looking and researching and asking the communities, is the week enough? Or should we look celebrating it right through the year? For example, every month, let's have an event every month. The language is taught. And I think, to your point as well, in terms of UNESCO, I always see it in there are different sides to it. UNESCO listed the language as a vulnerable, and I just have to emphasize that. It's a vulnerable stage in terms of the number of speakers. When you look at Rotuma, the language is not vulnerable. People speak the language every day. The language survives there. It is only when you move across the diaspora, and one of the things, and I always go back to when our connection starts back in Fiji, but when we first met, in terms of the New Zealand Returnment youth back then in writing the proposal, recognition that I saw here in Aotearoa when I first came here in 2006 to work, was the separation and the silo of languages being used. It's siloed to just the elderly and those who are just, some of them that came off the island. Our little ones, the language is not present at all. So that's definitely, it's moving to a stage where it's moving to an endangered in the diaspora, but it's not necessarily endangered on our island. So that's just to clear everything off. 2011, when the language, and you were one of them to send me the link, because Fiji did recognize that. It was in the Guardian newspaper, that, hey, look, the language, Rotuman language is listed there, not just the Rotuman language, many of our languages across the Pacific. We know about Kukiaraini, we also know about, Fijian language as well. If you look at the diaspora, it's starting to that stage. So there are a lot of it that we need to work on, but in terms of what UNESCO highlighted, it's a positive way to wake us up. It's sort of like a wake-up call. What are we doing in the space? So that's how I felt. Should we continue? And I think you don't know what you don't know until you actually do it. And so when the language started at BC at that time, it really brought people to kind of question, wow, I've never learned the language. Maybe it's time for me to embrace it. And all those students over the years, and we are still connected today, which shows a lot of how much the language has stayed with our people. And for me, that's to look back at it, it's so positive. Sometimes when you're tired, like, being here and there and so many hats, as to your point, when I look back at it, I'll never regret it, because putting the language to actually lift the profile of our people was always at the heart of soul that, we talked about that. And I wanted it. I said to you, I want it one day that the ministry will actually accept it. And so it is that it happened, although it's not me. I was pushing it from the side, but the conversations were happening somewhere, and I leave that there for now. But it's always been the vision, as I shared to a lot of people, why I language, so that continuously our community, we have a lot going on in our communities and our people, because we've got full-time jobs, we're working, and the language to stay on a platform that is recognized helped us. And, eventually the ministry fully funded a Center for Pacific Languages for the last year. So this is why recognition, the journey of EEC, but also the leadership and the board at that time, for allowing, we were very lucky, because Dr. Lau and Kiribati weren't even taught, or Tuvalu, Ngangana Tuvalu. So our Rotuman language at that stage, where we were working closely to pushing it, I was very, I would say that our Rotumans were very blessed, because it was a way, as I said, to the community, regardless whether I'm there or not. Once the language is present there, it is there forever. And it's our duty that if I leave, somebody else can teach the language. So it's getting a home. For me, I saw it as a home. Where can our language, where can we put our language to be a home for our people, where they all know, where can I go to? Like every Friday night, Saturday morning, people say, let's tune in to Kamana Rotuma, because that's it. The language, the music, our songs, enticing our young ones through church's work and being an example to our young ones. So people know that, oh, I can be like him, I can be. And those who are our elders who are fluent in the language and are confident to do it can say, well, I can replace Fesaitu anytime. So that's why we want to build that confidence and give our people to say, hey, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So we want to bring a pool of people that can come into the space, not just young ones, but also our knowledge holders, our elders, who says, hey, I can have fun, but I also can teach someone something. So that's how I saw in terms of the language and where that journey in terms of UNESCO has taken us. It's a wake-up call, because if you look across the diaspora, our people are so embedded in our English language. And we all, we are brought up that go to school, education. Yes, education is a big thing, and education can bring us out and lift us up in many ways in terms of our standard of living. But our language and our culture should always be the forefront, and it's much more wealthier. There's a lot of wealth, and I always say it. We talked about it. Wealth in our language and culture can never, money can, financial monetary terms can never take away the wealth of our language and culture that's embedded in us. So that's how, yeah. Vinaka.
And for those of you listening in, you'll hear Fesaitu mentioning PEC. So PEC was the one of the old name of the Center for Pacific Languages. It is PEC stands for Pacifica Education Center, and that's how we were teaching I was teaching the Fijian language, and it was teaching the Rotuman language. But now they're based in Manukau in Auckland, and it is under the Center for Pacific Languages. I think we're so blessed in New Zealand, acknowledging the Ministry of Pacific Peoples for recognizing the support for our Pacifica language, and for Rotuma to have to be a standalone language, and not under the shadow of Fiji. And I think that was something I noticed when we were working at the Auckland Museum, where we realized that Rotuma needs to be on their own, and rather than being under Fiji all the time. So congratulations again to you, Itu, and the team, and the Hata Collective, Chochi, and everybody working so hard behind the scene. It's just wonderful to see that. Now, there will be people wanting to learn the Rotuman language. What should they do for those listening in if they want to join one of your classes, Itu?
Vinaka, Tarisi, Dr. Tarisi. So, Center for Pacific Languages, we have online classes, and the term, I believe the next term starts in June. And so you can keep an eye on the Center for Pacific Languages website as well. So you can go in there, check out all not just the Returnement language, but if you want to learn other languages, you're more than welcome to tune in there. The other part too, if you have something specific that it's not there for Pacific languages to support you, then reach out to me to see how I can help you. Probably I can redirect you to somebody in our community if there's something particular in the culture that you want to learn, and so I'm happy to redirect you. But there are a lot of our community members that we want to encourage to come into the space to help people who are looking. I can tell you the demand is growing in terms of people wanting to learn the language. Center for Pacific Languages, whilst it's good and encourages our people, there are some people that have tailored learning. They just want to tailor their learning according to what they want to learn. Some are their language journey is probably not really fluent, it's in the middle. So they want to learn culture or they want to learn something specifically. So please do get in touch. And, Center for Pacific Languages is also there for your language journey to start. But, for people to not be, be afraid or feel embarrassed if I've had students who are way older, like 40, 50, 60, and coming to learn the language, starting their language journey. Some are, in school, some are working at the moment. Some of them are Rotuman, part Rotumans, and even non-Rotumans are wanting to embrace our language as well. So that, the language is always there. If you have something specific that I can help you with and redirect to somebody, if I can't help you, then please do get in touch. But Center for Pacific Languages is there online, and there's a website for it.
Wow, vinaka. See, there you go. For those of you who are listening in, if you want to learn this beautiful language, even when Fesaitu is speaking, it's like she's singing, or she's got this beautiful poem. It's so poetic. Yeah, wrong vinaka dina was Rotuma. So I think that might be my challenge for 2023. I want to join one of your classes, Itu, because I want to sound nice like you. Vinaka vakalevu sana. Now, those of you wanting to know, check out the Center for Pacific Languages in Manukau. They have their website, and also you can also check the Pacific Media Network Rotuma, PMN Rotuma, Chochivai and Fesaitu Solomone. They do their a weekly Rotuma language radio program, which is very exciting because you can see Rotumans in the diaspora. They're listening in. And they have an amazing competition. They even have giveaways. They have money that they can give away. Look, see, so join the Rotuman class. You might get some pocket money for the weekend if you listening to some of their really, really fun and engaging program. Vinaka Chochi and Vinaka Itu. Now, I knew that over the weekend you went to Hamilton. So now I want us to talk a little bit about the program this week. Well, what did you go and do in Hamilton? And then we're going to talk about what did you do today?
Dr. Tarisi, Hamilton was a very interesting topic, and I think it's a topic that close to our hearts as well in terms of the media. Chochi is new in the media, but he's, I have to say, he's so knowledgeable and has a, very visionary as well in terms of what he thinks and very outspoken in terms of what he believes for our community. I wanted to highlight because yesterday we didn't get into the nitty-gritty of what the panel was about. Yesterday was language, media and retention and language retention. What is the role of media? And, you and I both know that for me, working over 20 years in the media, especially television and moving into radio, it's such an interesting space and a space that I believe one of the key questions, we had Christine Rovoy, who's another journalist. And so she was a journalist, and you have Chochi, who's a training cadet journalist. And so I'm so happy that we got more Rotumans in the space in Aotearoa in terms of a journalist. Not forgetting Nairi, who's also there with Sunpicked and Tangata Pacifica. And I believe there are probably some other Rotumans or part Rotumans journalists that we don't know. But just acknowledging in terms of to your point as well, the topic last night was based on media and the role of media in language retention. We all know that traditional media, when we started off, was just print, the newspaper, this TV came in slowly, and radio is such a old, it's a beast there for years. And so radio was dominant in terms of AM and then FM. And we moved from that to the papers. Now, one of the key questions yesterday, which we didn't really get into it because there was so much to talk about and so many questions. But when we look at Aotearoa and the space that we're in right now, and I want to say this wholeheartedly in terms of, we always say, addressing the elephant in the room. And one of the key worries for our journalists, and I must say this, Dr. Tarisi, is that the situation that here in our community is a challenge for our reporters, challenge in the language, but also the culture as well, the cultural protocols. How do they report that? So how can we as a community work together to support our journalists who are going to tell our stories to the world about who we are in the space? So I'm also mindful as well, because we're still in the language week area, and I don't want to say anything out of context, but I think the challenge from yesterday, basically for our journalists, like, Christine Rovoy, who's been in the space for so long, is that, we in the media, the media has a role, it's an influential role. And now it's touched from media, from radio, TV to print. It's touched the digital world. And things like this that we're talking about is very influential to our people, because if you look at what's happening, anything that people put on social media, especially social media now, it can be used as people take it that it's the gospel, it's the truth in everything. So working in the media, that's the challenge, first of all, is that our community. The second part is, if our journalists as Rotumans are reporting on content that belongs to us as Rotuman, how do we support for them? And one of the, Christine raised about, which was really good, and I acknowledge Meritaito and Molasio Munisi and the team at Waikato University for allowing us to speak in that space. But it raises a question as to how do we support our own people, vice versa? How do we collaboratively come together so that our reporters are not attacked within our context of our community, but also the reporting on the the essence and the truth? It's about facts that they can report about culture, our language. How can we do that both? And it works both ways. How can we support each other without our journalists being attacked? Because one of the things, and been working in the space, as you all know, Dr. Taris, is that every time you put something, or if I'm presenting something, there's a tendency for people to attack us. And attack us because, so that's why reporters, although they are reporters and journalists themselves, it's a job that they seriously take, because it's all about not being biased in the space, but be able to report on the facts and the truth, and both sides. Having, if there's one story, does not necessarily mean it's only truth in one side, because somebody else could say, well, I disagree. So it's reporting both. It's a balanced reporting that allows our people to understand that this is not the space for you to attack anyone. However, for them to investigate, let's say a piece of culture here, cultural protocol. Well, some people do it this way and some people do it this way. We need to educate our reporters, say, this is how it's done. So if you're only reporting one side, they get attacked. So that's the reason why media plays a crucial role in the space in what we do, whether it's radio, print, if you're writing an article, I'm presenting a story, or I'm talanoing to you, or having a little bit of a hanutu to you about what we're doing. I have to be very careful that sometimes that it doesn't come back, because our people could be very nasty and vicious in the space. So that's where the concern, the role of media through language retention, is that media helps us. You've known this as well. We've had Rotuman paper, a newspaper before in Fiji. We had that back in the island years ago, in the early 1800s, I believe. And so writing our language, media can plays a role, like, creating content now. On TV, on radio, the language is spoken. That's a way. For me, I see it as a positive. The language continues to survive. Content is created in the space. There's always a pro and con to anything we do in the space, and digital media has really enhanced that. Like I always say to someone, today, everyone is a reporter, because everyone's got a phone, the camera, every editing tools are available to everybody. But how we play that role in terms of, real journalists versus us as people creating stories and telling stories in the space, we have to hold ourselves accountable for that. So that's why, the panel yesterday was looking at language as a whole. Where do we, as me working in the media, how our role plays out in content that we put out for our people, entertaining, educational, but also informative in the space as well. But it helps our people to recognize that we're creating safer spaces, and that's the role of media, is to give stories that people feel they're part of it, but at the same time, I hear now, because there's so many different types of ways of doing things in our culture, so many disagreements in our communities, who's right, who's wrong, who's doing what. So it puts our journalists and our media people in a space that is very vulnerable for us. Because the vulnerability comes when you're trying to report the facts, you get attacked. Or if you're not, you're only looking at one side because that's what you've been told by community, then you get attacked. So that's why the frustration for us, and I know how that feels because being in the space for that long, specifically in delivering a new, or if you're going to shoot something or creating a production, people always has something to say. And, it's learning. I think it's a space where I've always thought to myself, how can we bring all of our people together to create a safer space, but also a space that people know if they're wrong, be gentle, be reminded it's easy time at this time. So it is sometimes it's not the fault of anyone, it's just miscommunication in the space. So that's why, but our communities, and I must say for our Rotuman communities, whether it's in Aotearoa or anywhere in the world, we need to learn to work together and respect each other in the space. Because if we're able to do that, it helps for people in the media or other organizations to be able to work with us. Otherwise, it continues to fragment us and create vulnerability and an unsafe space for our people that work in crucial spaces to tell our stories. So that's why, for me, it's really put, and I know how that feels because what has happened touches the work Tochi and I do, Christine also here, but also Nairi who works at Sunpeaks, because it's finding the neutral space where we're always going to be attacked in the space. So to your point, yesterday was great, not just a good panel, a good way for us to, but it's one of those topics that we haven't, it's unfinished business in the space. We want to continue to create that, but our people need to think clearly, how do we come together going forward to make it happen? So it makes our lives easier, the lives of our koinangas who are in the space are reporting our stories, because if that's the case, why should we even report the stories or tell the stories about Rotuman people? Why should we even speak the language anyway? Because we're always going to be attacked. So that's how I see it from the panel yesterday, was language retention media plays a crucial role, but it's a collective role that everybody needs to work together in the space respectfully.
And as you said, it's a work in progress, and it's something that is going to continue, and it's really something I want to encourage. That you've already started it in Hamilton, and you were saying that you were looking at least celebrating something a month, one program per month. Maybe there can be a part 2 or part 3 or part 4 of this conversation, and it's really nice that young Rotumans are part of it, and it's really encouraging, to see that you are seeing the balanced reporting that needs to happen, but also creating a safe space for all of this to be shared. So it's shared knowledge and shared understanding. And what about today? We noticed that you flew down in a beautiful aeroplane from Auckland to Wellington, and I heard you singing in the Parliament. And again, to me, I'm thinking, look at all these Rotumans, they're making everybody sing in Parliament. So what made you and Tochi and the team create this program today? That was really nice. Congratulations.
I just wanted to reflect because everybody thinks everything is always planned, well in advance, and we're ready for it. We got the call, I got the call on Thursday, late afternoon, during a sitting from MP Anahila, who is the leader for Pacific Caucus for our Labour government. So the last year was the same thing. Similar to last year, it was, they call us on a Thursday, Friday. will confirm everything. So they confirmed everything last Friday, and they've requested for, tifuis and all of that. And so there's a list of things that they asked for. And, as usual, you have to turn that around because we have to be, and if you think of it, it's only 3 days we were given literally to get everything ready before going down. It was a great opportunity having to pull a team. We were given only 10 people, 9. So myself plus 9, I can only bring 9 people to Parliament, and that's a way for them to celebrate Language Week and bring our garlands, our tifui, to gift it as part of the gifting. And for people who make tifui, it is not easy. And I tell you, it's been a while since making tifui, but I only played a very tiny role, a minor role, but acknowledging also Elfie and Sarah Samisoni, Elfie Prasad, who also worked for Center for Pacific Languages, for us to go down. One of the things in terms of logistics of getting our people down, the airfares were very expensive. And I had to lobby, organizations that we work with to help pay for our fares to go down. And so, it's not an easy thing. And, people think, wow, you guys traveling it. But we ourselves, not only our organizations acknowledging Pacific Media Network, for sending Tutor, because I asked for him to report on it, but also Elfie as well from CPL. And Elfie and Sarah, we came together last year. I was like, we really need to make some tifuis because they've requested it. And sometimes, it's not, as I explained to the government, to the Parliament office, this is not something that I would like because it's last minute. And, it's Mother's Day weekend. But, I will have to acknowledge the team. But, the opportunity for me, it's always like, what is the opportunity out there that we can grasp? As opportunity comes, when opportunity knocks, we just need to take it with both hands. So I just say to the team and our comms team, Philo, we have Stephanie, we have all this is all young people leading our communications team with the ministry to make the week happen. With Tutor's leadership, Elfie's in our comms team. We also have Sita, who is also Tongan, but she is a driving factor in our Returnment community as well. So I acknowledge her as well for their work in the comms and, communicating this to get people last minute. So I've had to look around who can make it to Parliament, and who can, affordability for us as people, airfares, paying one way, it's not cheap. So we thank God because everything worked out well.
Yeah, we heard the singing, we saw you drumming.
Yeah, but those are the, behind the scenes are things that people may not see it, but that's our journey. And having, our young ones to meet the tifuis with Elfie, Elfie did exceptionally well with Sarah to put together. We rushed it, we were running around getting everything done. And last year you saw only 3 tifuis. This year you would have seen about there's 14 tifuis that we delivered to Parliament. And the Prime Minister's tifui, because of her COVID isolation, she was in the at home at the Premier House, and so her tifui will be delivered later to her. This after when we left, they were going to deliver it to her to take a shot of it and promote the Rotuma Language Week as well. So we went to Parliament to represent our Rotuman community. Only 10 people were asked to come to Parliament to represent the whole of our Rotuman community in Aotearoa. But I always see not just in Aotearoa, but across, starting from Rotuma. Wherever we go and take Rotuma, we're taking our island with us. We're taking with us identity, our language, our culture, and who we are as Rotumans to deliver. We were asked to sing a song. We were supposed to have 10 people, and sending all our love to Wellington. Our people actually, some of them it has to go into isolation. Wellington, there's a few cases happening, and so they would love to be there. 5 of them were supposed to from our Wellington group for under NZRF, but it was so last minute. Last night, I was just told no, they cannot make it because they're not coming out of isolation until tomorrow. So yeah, we knew that there's only 5 of us, and then I managed to get MP Ingrid Leary, who did the prayer in Parliament last year and this year again, to for her daughter, who's also on a language journey as well. And there's an article on the PMN that came out with her. And so she came to Parliament to support. There's only 6 of us, if you can see, only 6 of us at Parliament today. And we
Your
were asked to
voice sounded
sing.
like there were 60 of you.
I know, we were nervous. We sat down, we didn't have a song. We didn't firm up a song. And I have to say kudos to Elfie for finalizing the song. It was 2 songs with a, on the way, we were like, what song are we going to see? We couldn't make up our mind
Sounds
because
so
it was like,
beautiful.
yeah. And then we finally made up our mind to Tiro Tiro Selane Longi. And that's it's such a beautiful song as well. And I learned it for the first time. So yeah, we were practicing the whole morning, trying to 2 o'clock, we have to be ready for the song. And we didn't have any instruments. And I asked the staff there, do you have any guitar or ukulele lying around? And they said, no. I said, well, the box that you saw Celebrate is what we put our tifui to take down to Parliament today. And that's what happened. It ended up to be our drums. So we improvised today on behalf of all of our Rotuman people. So Hanis Marutek ngats dako kipo ke makte kadlilir si ousa karafiong lilir kakatilang lilir Hanis Marutek. I'm just apologizing to all of our Rotumans worldwide. On behalf, we did it. We tried our best. We made sure that our voices, we had the masks. We asked, can we take the masks off? We couldn't. But yeah, all the tifuis, and we presented it on behalf of our people. I know that who knows, next year maybe tofuas will happen. So we don't know whether it's that's how we could do it within one a weekend. And we have to look at how fast do our people move. And I have to acknowledge my team that went down on behalf of the Mata Collective and all the Rotumans here in Aotearoa and across the globe as well, to take the name of Rotuma to Parliament today. And we really had fun. We were tired. We had only 1 hour sleep this morning. Elfie didn't sleep. He finished his tifui and we all met at the airport. And we came back from Hamilton very late, prepared everything. If you notice, we put ribbons and color-coded all the party tifui to make sure that they know who's wearing what. So I just wanted to acknowledge that, and hope that what we presented today to Parliament is good enough for our people here in Aotearoa and our leadership, but also across the globe. Matapip si otmota Rotuma sa ngangat isistu mas ngangat sa puernos otmota Hanis Marutek. This is just something small that we took to Parliament, to the Prime Minister and her cabinet, and also the opposition as well, to represent Rotuma on Nasav ni Fiang Rotom the Foyexia.
Yeah, to talk vinaka vakalevu. It for sharing your adventure. It's only Tuesday there in New Zealand, and I know there's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday still left. So for those who are listening in Itu, if they want to check out what's happening during the week in Aotearoa, where should they go and find the program?
So the program's on our New Zealand Returnement language page on Facebook. There's also the Ministry for Pacific Peoples website that you can get resources, and also the program should be available there as well.
Nice.
We're sharing a lot of content across our New Zealand Returnment Fellowship. We also got the Canterbury, we've got Koinanga Fitness. I wanted to highlight something I totally forgot. There's a video of a garden of our vegetable garden in terms of our Koinanga Fitness. And I wanted to highlight what this Returnment language, I was so taken by Elon Sokra'au, presented in Returnment. And I must say to you, Dr. Karisi, these are the things that could bring tears to our eyes, is because watching him speak Returnment, and someone that you will never hear him speak Returnment. If you check out the video, that's what we want to encourage our people here. Language, this is how much the language meant to someone that they've spoken Returnment to our children, but the elders as well, our young people. they're not really old because I'm pretty sure he's still 21 like us. But yeah, he's embraced the language. So that's how I wanted to highlight what language could do in the space of this nature. But yeah, the program is available on our sites. New Zealand Rotuma, that's the official ministry page with our community Hata Collective that puts content there. People can tag the New Zealand Rotuman Language Week page on Facebook. There's also Instagram takeovers happening throughout the week as well. This is all of our young people in Aotearoa, which we are very proud of. And also, Chochi is very young, leading our Hata Collective of all of our groups. That's, for me, that's something. Also, not forgetting our independent members that come together to support the space in terms of the work. So yeah, you can find the programs there. And if you cannot find anything, they have put up a Hata collective, hata.collective@gmail as well. So you can get in touch with let me just make sure that I'm giving you the right email here, Dr. Tarisi, in terms of our Hata Collective. So, sorry, it's hata.committee@gmail. And that's our Hata email address. If anyone wants any information, our comms team will be onto it. And the
Hata.committee, eh?
Yeah, Hata, hata.committee@gmail. So you can get in touch with our wonderful, amazing comms team as well. So yeah, that's all of our comms team. We've got our comms lead is Philomena. And we've got all of our comms members from representatives from across our groups, from Rachel Kuri. We have Stephanie Sokraa. We also have Sita. Chochi is in it as well as myself, and also Elfie Prasad. So yeah, just recognizing all of the comms committee. And if I miss someone out, my apologies.
Okay, Chochi is already put in the, everybody Chochi. And Chochi has a request that you're going to dance to end our interview today. Vinaka Chochi? Yeah.
He needs to come out and dance. We all just got back, and I know they've had the beautiful shower and laughing at me because I haven't had a shower today. And apologies to everybody. It's not the intention, but I just reached here just to set up.
Oh, yes. Vinaka. So don't worry, Chochi. It will have a session sometime in the week. Where she will be doing her dance, and Letila Mitchell just also connecting here and saying Faxia to you Itu and the team for your hard work and courage. So Letila, that's a wonderful word of encouragement, that wonderful young people, the young Rotumans who are taking the lead in many of these programs that you are all doing. So so those of you listening in who want to join any of this program this week, you can email hata.committee@gmail.com, or you can just follow them on Instagram, the New Zealand Rotuman Language Week. There will be program that will be shared on Facebook and Instagram as well. So that's wonderful, Lisa. I know we were only supposed to talk for half an hour, but we've already doubled the time. I know you need to rest. But to conclude our program today, if you would like to address your community in your language, to remind them of the importance of this special week, the Rotuma Language Week.
Vinaka, Dr. Tarisi, no I didn't as to the course going on ne no half formula long ne half isi ngoinan ne ngaruit ne sokexi ne lalong ne hanuti isi sirong ya Aotearoa ngaruit ne is au kapumo sia sa fiang rutom tam sang fakrutuma apumo okit ne sa notla soko ka tipo rekuhunsi ngaruti isi yang ki ngaru an le isi ne le hisista ngaruti isi musi isa to ko is ne hat la famerutum os offered ma os inan is famerutum you tipu muit la sa sokeki os feinga ma sang fakrutuma te ngani ni oke o mus pong tu to ko o accident os ko nang tu to ko ni po manau sa avala oya so wanga is veyang e hanap ni os ngaruti isi os Noaia. Os feang te isi ma os ang fakrutuma op mayo yo af os wututu ne renki ka tini wudin pola aiso ek ma hoya soang sa feang rutom da ma fakrutuma fingalele ma hoya soang sino nokala po ang o eka tipo sa nga sa puri susing purit fahareng ti isi choti ere ko hinsan mo ekti si os ka koto ni fraud ni mo si hata collective automis nga rue la loni hanuti isi ma tapi masi ministeri sa Mer Pasifika ere ko si oris nga rue la hoi suang la soket makikia os fiang rutom tama sang fakrutuma ela loni sa nuti city na koto ni ong tutu to ko na huang ni no soket mako ang fiang ta katapi bjang ang fakanua os wud nga ruang tutu to ko os Noaia han hanisi os sa famerutuma tengo o eka tipo ko ek tipo sa to polo ongat ni la ilalong ni tiron ti ila maf okya is famerutuma si os matintu pepa o eka tipo si osa os susinti isi elfi sara sama soni moana pasala lili atu matape mesi os susingit ni pur si hata kolektif mati ni otomis ko nang tutu kwa di te lalong ni hanuti isi ni kwa kaasan is pamerutuma aus Noaia te fiang lukit ma fiang miet wahela nala si tini is tutu kwa la wahe os amlik ni ngarue lalong ni sa mahunti isi Dr. Tarisi la te o tu farti la fingalile masi mamo ek o sa fiang tamo sang fakanua la nosok ek tiniavi mahapu mo ek ini butu tua to pane nohoe ela long ni renti te foi exia vinaka vakalevu Dr. Tarisi.
Sa vinaka vakalevu. We wish you all the very best, Itu, for this week with all your amazing team that you work with. All the very best with what you do to celebrate the language. All the best for your radio show with Chochi, as well as the work that you do in the teaching of the language for term 2 in June for the Center for Pacific Languages. Loloma Sarabakalevu, we came to Kedemeo Kalandi. All the very best. We'll be watching everything online and supporting from this end. And I look forward to as well this week. I'll have a time to Talanoa with Professor Wilson Hernico. For his winning the best short film for Cinema Timarau. So we saw, I think, Tinarau, which is a very special animation movie that he just created. So again, Rotuma doing so many wonderful things, and all the very best Itu for you for this week. Salolom Sartian.
Loloma to you too. Mahalo no
All right, Naka, Madmanda. Vinaka. Wow, that's wonderful. Vinaka vakalevu to Fesaitu Solomone, logging in from the beautiful town of Gleniness in Auckland, the city of sails in New Zealand. We really appreciated her kindness to join us this afternoon or this evening. She just arrived from Wellington, where they were celebrating the ROTUMAN language at the New Zealand Parliament House at the Beehive. So it's really lovely to see the celebration and the recognition and the visibility of the Rotuma language, not only in Aotearoa, but also around the world. Wishing everybody a happy Rotuma Language Week, and keep an eye out on social media pages and the programs for recipes, phrases of the day, and word of the day. Wishing you all the very best. Nisa Mwademanda. Faexia. Mwademanda.